Her voice cut through the line like rusted metal. "If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes." I stared at the phone, motionless. Her tone, sharp, entitled, dripping with mockery, still echoed long after the call ended. My daughter-in-law had always spoken with the arrogance of someone who mistook inheritance for worth. The irony burned. I was the one who built everything. The lake house, the company, the quiet fortune my late wife and I never flaunted. But now she, the woman my son married, believed she owned the right to humiliate me in front of the family. I looked out the window. Snow fell in the slow, deliberate rhythm of time itself. The lake, frozen and pale, reflected my stillness. They would gather without me, eat the meal I used to prepare, mock me over cheap wine and forced laughter. I felt something shift beneath the ribs. Not rage, not sadness, calculation. So when I said enjoy, my voice was calm. Too calm. She didn't hear the storm buried inside that single word. My son had changed after the wedding. Polite distance replaced warmth. His calls became scheduled, his affection transactional. Money was the new bloodline. When my wife passed, I offered them the lake house for weekends. "Keep it alive," I said. They did. For themselves. The first time I drove up unannounced, her brother's car blocked the driveway. Inside, they were drinking, laughing, their children scattering toys across the floor. I stood in the doorway, an intruder in my own home. Then I heard it. "Why is this stupid leech here? Get out!" Her brother, drunk, red-faced, holding a beer like a weapon. My son didn't defend me. He just looked away. I smiled. "Okay, I'll leave." They thought that was surrender, but it was the first move. Because that's the thing about silence. It's never empty. It's where plans grow. I returned to the city and began with the smallest gesture, a call to my lawyer. Then another, to the bank. Quietly I shifted titles. The lake house, the trust funds, the shares they never bothered to understand. Piece by piece, I took back what was mine, moving it where their hands couldn't reach. But I didn't stop there. I wanted to see how deep the rot went. I hired a private investigator. He found transactions, small but persistent. My son had been using my late wife's assets as collateral for loans. His wife had pressured him into investments that bled into her brother's failing company. Greed, predictable and dull. And still, I said nothing. They called occasionally, pretending civility. She'd send photos of the lake house with captions like, "Our happy place." I'd reply with emojis. Harmless, polite. Meanwhile, I bought something else, a villa overlooking Lake Geneva. Quiet, detached, surrounded by mountains. A place where silence had meaning. I began transferring funds, liquidating quietly. The last link was the house, the one she loved to show off. I let her think it was still hers to use. Every manipulation requires patience. Let them believe the ground beneath them before you pull it away. The call came on a Thursday. Her voice, trembling now. "Dad, we got a letter from the bank. They said the property deed is gone. What does that mean?" I looked at the snow falling outside my Swiss window. "It means," I said, "you should have washed the dishes." Silence. Then stuttering, pleading. She'd grown used to control, to me funding her lifestyle, her parents' vacations, her brother's business. But the letter had arrived with another notice, eviction. The new owner wanted the property vacated by month's end. The new owner was me. A perfect circle. I didn't raise my voice, I didn't explain. I simply sent her a few photos of the villa. The marble staircase, the view of Montreux, the wine cellar lit like a cathedral. No caption, just images. That night my phone lit up 71 times. Calls, messages, begging. I didn't answer a single one. The next morning my son appeared at my door. He looked smaller than I remembered, shoulders bent, eyes darting between guilt and desperation. "Dad, she didn't mean it. You know how she is. Please, can we fix this?" I poured him a drink, the old whiskey, his mother's favorite. "Fix?" I asked softly. "I think it's already fixed." He frowned. "We just need a little help getting back on our feet." "The kids," I interrupted. "Your children will inherit everything, but you won't control it." He froze. I slid a folder across the table. Inside were signatures, trusts, legal transfers, every safety net gone. Every thread of dependency severed. He looked at me as if seeing me for the first time. "Why are you doing this?" I met his eyes. "You let them treat me like a burden. You forgot who built the floor you're standing on." He started to speak, but I raised a hand. "This isn't revenge, son. It's correction." He left quietly. He didn't slam the door. He didn't need to. The silence was final enough. I watched the snow fall into the lake, erasing its reflection. Somewhere, my daughter-in-law was screaming. Her brother's company had collapsed without my silent funding. The house was gone. The image she worshipped crumbled. I thought I would feel satisfaction, but what I felt was clarity. Betrayal doesn't deserve anger. It deserves absence. I poured another glass, staring at the ripples on the lake. The mountains held their breath. For the first time in years, so did I. They would tell the story differently, of course. The ungrateful father, the cruel old man. Let them. Truth doesn't need witnesses. It only needs to be felt. And as I turned off my phone, the 72nd call flashing on the screen, I smiled. She once told me I could join Thanksgiving if I washed the dishes. Now she'll have to learn how to eat without a table.